today's mindful moment.
We always hear about comfort, like it's in the familiar things, the routines we build up around ourselves. But what if I told you that real growth, like those huge life-changing moments, happen when we actually step outside those comfy little bubbles? And you know what? We're actually going to explore that idea today, looking at someone's amazing journey to rural Tuscany. It's all laid out in this book, Under the Tuscan Sun by Frances Mays.
You hit the nail on the head, when you talk about environment being a catalyst. Mays's memoir, it's not just about buying a place in the Italian countryside. It's about building a whole new version of herself and a whole new world. You know what I mean?
You're right. The book walks us through her decision to buy this rundown farmhouse called Bramasol and her whole experience diving into Italian life. I mean, just picture it, crumbling stone, that olive grove smell everywhere, a whole different pace of life. It's amazing, and she covers everything from those busy local markets to just enjoying meals with people. We're going to pull out some key insights for you today about how embracing a new place can really change you, make you appreciate the simple things more, and even change how you think about home and belonging.
It's so true. This whole thing about living in the moment, really taking in all the little details and finding joy in everyday stuff, that's what it's all about. Actually, for anyone listening who wants to explore that kind of stuff, mindful living, personal growth, all through literature, there's this awesome YouTube channel called Mindful Moments. They do these really cool AI-powered analyses of audiobooks. You should check it out. But getting back to Mays, what's really interesting is what made her want such a big change in the first place. Even the title of her preface, bramare, it's this old Italian word that means to yearn for, and it kind of hints at this deep longing she had.
Yeah, and she actually comes right out and says it. She says this yearning was all about, wanting to enlarge the psychic place one lives in.
Yeah.
It makes sense, right? This came after her divorce, a huge life change, and this strong desire to really get to know another culture. It's fascinating how she uses the house, Bramasol, as this big metaphor. She says, the house is a metaphor for the self, implying that when you're in a totally new environment, your whole sense of self, of home, it gets amplified, like it's under a magnifying glass.
It's like swapping out the background of your life.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're so much more aware of what's going on inside. Yeah. So as she starts living in this new space, she's really drawn to the rhythms of Tuscany, even the really old ones. It's amazing how she connects with these traditions that are way older than modern conveniences. She talks about clearing these overgrown terraces with power tools, but her neighbor, he still uses his tractor to follow the same paths oxen made centuries ago. It's like the past is still there, influencing the present and creating this unique rhythm.
She's got this great line. She says, old places exist on sine waves of time and space that bend in some logarithmic motion I'm beginning to ride. It's like time isn't just a straight line in these places. The past is right there with you, shaping the present. And she brings it all to life with these vivid details. She describes the weed machines sounding like giant bees, these wild orange lilies all over the hillside, the four calls of the cuckoo, even just grilled bread and oil. These little things really ground her experience, make it so real for the reader.
And being so immersed in this beautiful Tuscan world, it's natural that she starts wanting something more permanent, a real home in this amazing landscape. She spent years renting all these different farmhouses, always searching. It wasn't just about a summer getaway. It became a real mission, a quest. Along the way, she found amazing things like pure green olive oil, beautiful country Romanesque churches, and all the different regional wines. House hunting for her wasn't just about the property itself, it was about the whole experience. She and her partner Ed did go to these weekly markets, really check out the local produce, and imagine hosting parties and events in these potential homes.
It goes beyond just the practical stuff. They really wanted to soak up the atmosphere of each village. They'd spend time in the piazzas, local bars, just observing, the rhythm and character of each place. And when they finally settled in Cortona, it was clear how welcoming the community was. She talks about everyday life in the piazza, like when a new baby is born, everyone stops to admire and congratulate the parents. These small moments really show how connected everyone is. There are also these friendly encounters in shops and relationships that develop, like with Maria Rita at the grocery store. It shows how she slowly integrates herself into the fabric of the community.
And then there's this whole thing about restoring Bramasol, which becomes a big part of her own personal transformation. The challenges of renovation, like dealing with those pesky scorpions or rebuilding those stone walls, they kind of mirror the internal struggle she's going through. And during all the work, they find these unexpected things, like these old water chutes connected to a cistern, revealing this hidden story beneath the surface, that these places have their own stories to tell, and when we engage with them, we uncover not just their past, but maybe our own too. Her interactions with the workers, especially these Polish laborers, that's another example of this cultural exchange. They couldn't really speak the same language, but they connected through poetry. It's like a universal language that goes beyond words, creating this beautiful moment. Ultimately, the transformation of Brahmasol, bringing this neglected house back to life, it symbolizes May's own journey of rebuilding and renewal.
As she settles into this Tuscan life, she starts to appreciate the simple, often overlooked things. What's so striking is how she finds beauty in the ordinary. She even admires the beauty of scorpions and recognizes nature's resilience in their persistence. The pleasure she gets from simple meals made with fresh local ingredients, it shows a shift in her priorities, away from the craziness of modern life towards simpler pleasures. Her descriptions of the Tuscan landscape are amazing. The fireflies at night, the fog in the valley in the morning. It's like nature is the central character, offering both peace and wonder. It's a rediscovery of those basic joys like being connected to nature and the simple act of opening windows, letting the fresh air and sounds in.
And over time, we see how Maze's perspective changes. Cortona, which she initially saw as preposterously alien, slowly becomes her home. But this change wasn't easy or instant. She had to navigate all these cultural differences, like the Italian way of approaching time, driving, community, things that were so different from her American experiences. These observations make her think about her life back in America, giving her a fresh perspective on her own culture. Tuscany doesn't replace her American identity, but it adds another layer, making her understanding richer. In the end, she truly becomes part of the Courtney's community, going from Stranieri, an outsider, to simply belonging, living there as part of the local life.
The book also touches on this idea of place and memory, how the spaces we live in hold echoes of the past and shape who we are now. She has these dreams about old houses, finding rooms she'd never seen before, which could be a metaphor for discovering hidden potential within herself. This idea that places hold memories and that we are always passing through, it adds this philosophical depth, reminding us that our lives are temporary, but history continues. She feels this connection to the past very strongly in Cortona. From the Etruscan walls to the Roman roads, it's like history is woven into the landscape. This awareness makes her experience even richer, connecting her more deeply to the place and its people.
So think about this. What if you stepped outside your own house, whether it's a physical space or routine, your comfort zone? Could that reveal new, unexpected parts of yourself and the world around you?
That's such a powerful thought. Embracing the unknown, it can lead to a much deeper, more vibrant understanding of who we are and where we fit in. So if you're feeling inspired by this journey of transformation and discovery, we encourage you to subscribe for more stories about people living their lives to the fullest. And if you know someone who might find Frances May's story inspiring, please share this with them. If you'd like to dive into her story yourself, you can find Under the Tuscan Sun using the link provided in the description. Remember, sometimes the most amazing discoveries are waiting just outside our comfort zones, so always keep thinking critically about your own path to growth and discovery.